Good morning, friends. I just hope you're having a great start to your day. Today, I'm going to read you a story that's called The Berenstain Bears Don't Pollute Anymore. It's a great one to hear any time of year, but especially close to Earth Day. Here we go. Well, looky here, said Papa Bear as he opened the evening news newspaper. Your friend, Professor Actual Factuals, got his picture in the paper. Oh, said Brother and Sister Bear, coming to see. There's a big story, too, said Papa, and a headline. My goodness, said Mama Bear. What's it all about? Leading scientist claims Bear County is in serious trouble, he said, reading the headline. What sort of trouble? Asked Sister. Papa, who was reading the story to himself, didn't answer. What sort of trouble? Said Mama, repeating Sister's questions. Oh, you know how professors are, he said. Actual Factuals making a big fuss about pollution. Well, I know how Professor Actual Factual is, said Mama, and I think he's quite sensible. So do I, said Sister. Me too, said Brother Bear. Oh, he's a great guy, all right, said Papa. He dug up some terrific dinosaur bones and runs a great museum. But I happen to think he's gone a little overboard on this pollution thing. I'm as much against pollution as the next fellow, he continued. I just don't think a couple of candy wrappers and drinking cups along the side of the road is the end of the world. Besides, Bear Country is great shape. Come on, I'll show you. He opened the door and led the family into the front stoop. You see, Bear Country is not only in good shape, it's downright beautiful. The rolling hills, the forests, the lakes, and the streams. Just look at that sunset. It's beautiful, all right, agreed Brother. But our science books say that some of those colors are caused by chemicals in the air that shouldn't be there, said Papa. Say, aren't you two supposed to be doing your homework? Sister, who was about completed with her homework, finished quickly. But Brother Bear was stuck. Teacher Bob asked him to do a report on endangered species. The book had taken out of the library weren't very helpful. Of course, the kind of shape Bear Country was in wasn't as simple as Papa made it seem. How Bear Country looked depended on your point of view. It looks fine from the Bears family's front stoop. It even looked better if you had a bird's eye view while flying high above the earth. If you had a squirrel's eye view and were finding fewer and fewer acorns because too many trees were being cut down, Bear Country didn't look so fine. If you had a duck's eye view, you might think the professor was right about pollution. If you had a fish's eye view, you might think things were downright awful. The next day, Brother decided to visit the museum to ask Professor Actual Factual to help him with his endangered species report. Sister Bear went with him. Actual Factual was usually cheerful and friendly and bubbling all over with ideas for projects when the Cubs visited, but this time he looked worried and glum. He did cheer up a bit when they saw him, but when Brother told him the purpose of the visit to get help on a report about endangered species, he said something very surprising. I'll tell you, the endangered species to your report is us. We don't understand, said the bear cubs. It's very simple, explained the professor. We bears and all other creatures need certain things to survive: clean air to breathe, pure water to drink, and good soil to grow food in. If we don't do something about this pollution, we're all going to become endangered species. Come on, he said. You'll understand soon enough. He led them out to where the actual factual mobile was parked. It was a special kind of van with all kinds of scientific gear inside. Then the professor took brother and sister on a bear country tour. They soon wouldn't forget. They went past Grizzly Gus's garage and they saw oil leaking into the stream, getting on some ducks and killing some of the fish. They went past the old box factory where they saw ugly black smoke pouring into the air. They scuba dived into the Great Bear Lake where they saw everything from soda cans to rusty old bed springs and worse. They saw a fish tangled in a soda pop can holder. They cut it loose, but they couldn't rescue all the fish from the plastic holders carelessly thrown away. They drove down to the forest. They drove down through the forest and saw great many trees had been already cut down, and not that many new trees had been planted in its place. "You might speak to your dad about this," said the professor. "He and his fellow wood bears could help with that problem." "I think I see what you mean about becoming an endangered species," said Brother Bear as he got back to the museum. "Yeah," said Sister. "But what are we going to do about it?" "Did that evening news story do much good?" asked Brother. "Not much," said the professor. "The idea that Bear Country is in serious trouble because of the population's pollution seems to be hard to get across." "To grown-ups, maybe," said Sister. "But we understand, and all our cub friends will too, because we're the ones who'll have to live on this messed up, polluted earth when we are grown-ups." "Professor," said Brother, "how does this sound? You come to our school and explain all about pollution to the cubs of Bear Country. Maybe we can do something about it." Actual Factual was impressed. "I'll give Teacher Bob a call right now and arrange it," he said. And that's what happened. The cubs were all eyes and ears on Professor Actual Factual as he told them about the trouble Bear Country was getting into. First, he taught them the three most important words: ecology, conservation, and recycle. The way the professor explained it, ecology means how the creatures and the plants and the earth itself work together. Conservation means not wasting the valuable things of the earth like water, oil, wood, and metal. And recycle means finding ways to use some of those valuable things over and over. The cubs learned quite a lot from Actual Factual, and they had some ideas of their own. "How about a recycling program?" suggested one of the cubs. Maybe maybe for newspapers to start," added another. "And then if that works, we can add cans and bottles too." Tim Honeypot said he'd talk to his dad, Mayor Honeypot, about it. Brother Bear remembered Grizzly Gus's garage. "You shouldn't be allowed to spill oil into the stream. That kills the fish," he said. Babs Bruno, whose dad was the chief of the police, said, "I'll talk to my dad. If there isn't a law against it, maybe there ought to be." Even Too Tall helped with an idea. "My uncle owns the super duper market. He could put in a bag return plan for the reusing the bags." "Excellent suggestions," said the professor. "And if some folks don't want to cooperate," added Too Tall, "me and the gang will lean on them a little." "The return bag is fine," Too Tall said Teacher Bob, "but no leaning." Cousin Freddie said the best idea of all. "Let's start a club to stop pollution and call it the Earth Savers Club. We'll make posters and bumper stickers and have cleanups and marches and parades." But there was still the problem of Papa and his fellow wood bears. That evening, Brother and Sister told Mama and Papa about the club the Earth Savers Club and the plans for stopping pollution. Mama was very impressed. Papa was too, and said, as I said before, I'm just as much against pollution as the next fellow. But when the cubs asked him to be sure that he and his fellow woods bears plant new trees for every one they cut down, he did get a little grumpy. He grumbled, it's hard enough to cut down trees without having to plant them as well. Besides, what's all the fuss about? They're just trees. My dear, said Mama, the cubs are right. The forest is a living thing and deserves respect. Papa was about to say, pooh, but he thought better of it. The problem of conserving the forest must have been on his mind, because that night in his dream, the dream he was walking towards the forest to cut down, when the trees began to sway and wave their branches, then the trees turned into reaching, grabbing arms. Then the trees climbed out of the earth on their roots and chased after him. Help! Cried terrified Papa in his sleep. The trees, they're after me! He woke up in a cold sweat. Having nightmares? Said Mama. Must have been something I ate, he said. Or something you heard. Perhaps, she said. About trees? He said, and turned over and tried to go back to sleep. But it wasn't going to be easy. The cubs didn't expect to solve the problems of Bear Country's pollution problems, but the Earth Saver Club made a very good start. The mayor declared a special holiday called Earth Savers Day, and the cubs had a big parade. Brother and Sister Bear marched at the head with Professor Actual Factual. There were many grown-ups in the parade too, including Papa Bear, who carried a sign and didn't say pooh. Let's see what Papa Bear's sign says. A good woods bear plants a tree for every single one he cuts. No ifs, no ands, and or maybes or buts. I hope you enjoyed today's story about the Berenstain Bears Don't Pollute.